Significance speaks of giving. Merely giving. William Barclay, the Scottish theologian, said something that's been an absolute mantra in my life. William Barclay said, always give without remembering. Always receive without forgetting. Oh, wow. Giving is like loving. You don't love your children back because they loved you first. You love your children even when your children are unlovable. So merely give. Be in the zone of significance. I do not know what success is. I do know it is not enough. And I also know that I've never met a person who is both successful and happy, truly happy, who got there by deceiving other people. I've met a lot of happy people. I've met a lot of successful people, but never one who's successful and happy who got there by deceiving others. Sort of violates the law of integrity and all else we've talked about here so far. So success is not that important. Significance is having someone you love and someone who loves you. Having some purposeful work in which you can lose yourself. Purposeful work that could help other people. Having somewhere to be that brings you joy and brings you satisfaction and brings you purpose. Some people, as you know, live the life at the task level every day. They go to work, they do all the things they have to do, come home, drink a beer, burp, go to sleep, get up the next morning, repeat the process all over again. Some people set their goals and they very carefully work those goals. But the happiest people I have ever met, the most significant people I have ever met, are the ones who live their life at the purpose level. Occasionally I will ask an audience this question: if you had 6 months to live, how would you spend the last 6 months of your life? Because the answer that you would give us for this question will tell us a lot about what it is that you value in your own life. I had a smart alecky guy the other day say to me, he said, if I had 6 months to live, I'd tell you what I would do. I said, what's that, sir? He said, if I had 6 months to live, I'd move in with my mother-in-law. Because he said that would be the longest 6 months. There was this guy who had a little dime store, the corner of Elm and Commerce. It's a little store. He's a good man. His prices were fair. His location was strategic. It was honest. People began to talk about him. He had more customers. He expanded his store. He had more stores from border to border and coast to coast. He built his chain of stores. One day he was taken ill to the hospital and he wanted one of his 3 adult children to become the president of the company. And he knew not which one should become the president of this company. So he called all 3 of his adult children into the hospital room and he said to them, one of the 3 of you will take over the reins of this company. I know not which one it would be, so here's what I choose to do. He reached in his pocket and he took out 3 $1 bills. And he gave son number 1 $1, son number 2 $1, and daughter number 3 $1. And he said, go downtown today, spend your money any way that you choose. But when you come back here tonight, however you spent this money must fill this room from corner to corner, must fill this room. Excited as they were, they all went, they all spent their money, they all came back in the evening. And the daddy said, what did you do with your money? And son number 1 said, Daddy, I went out to see my friend whose family has a big barn on this big farm. I gave him my $1. He gave me 2 bales of hay. He brought in those bales of hay into the hospital room, tore them apart, threw the hay up in the sky, and momentarily the room was filled. But we all know what happens to hay. Tumbled down, settled on the floor, and the daddy said, no, sir. Son number 2, what have you done with your $1? Son number 2 said, Daddy, I went down to Sears and Roebuck, where they had a sale on pillows made with feathers. I gave the clerk my $1. He gave me a pillow. He brought in the pillow. He tore it open. He took the feathers. He threw them up in the sky. And momentarily the room was filled. But much like the hay, the feathers tumbled down, settled on the floor. And the daddy said, "No, sir." "Daughter number 3, what have you done with your $1? "Oh," she said, "Dad, I took my $1 to a store like the one you had years ago. I gave the owner this paper $1, and I asked him for some currency, some coins, quarters, dimes, nickels. I took 50 cents of that $1, and I invested in something very worthwhile, just like the Holy Bible says, invest thine talents. I took 20 cents of my $1, and I gave it to my house of worship. I took 10 cents of my $1, gave it to the Boy Scouts of America, 10 cents to the Girl Scouts of America, and Daddy, you added all up and left me one dime, 10 tiny little pennies. And with those 10 tiny little pennies, Daddy, I went back to the store, gave the man my money, and I bought 2 things." She reached in one pocket and she took out a little matchbook. She reached in the other pocket and she took out a little candle. She struck the match. She lit the candle. She turned the light switch off. And the room was full. The room was completely full. Not with hay, not with feathers, but with light. You are the light of the world. What you do in your business, in your life, with your family, in your community, can light up the biggest of stadiums in the pitchness of darkness. Or can do something less than that, but it is always your choice. Do not, dear friends, fall for the myth of success. Stand tall and choose wholeheartedly the promise of significance. And when you do that, you're richer. And all about you and around you, in this the land of the free and home of the brave, become richer.